A very good morning to you. Can you give us some idea of what your agreement is with the taxi industry with regard to these hikes, massive hikes that were due to come into effect on Monday the 15th?
Well, firstly, thanks for the opportunity, and let me say good morning to all the viewers. Just to confirm that, yes, we did have a meeting with both Santaco and GNTA, which are the two main taxi associations in our province. And we agreed as follows. Firstly, that it wouldn't really be appropriate under conditions of COVID-19 lockdown, with the difficulties brought to bear on the taxi industry, particularly financial challenges to be placed on the doorstep of the already financially depressed commuters, and who are also looking forward to the taxi industry to protect them against COVID-19. So having understood that and just the economic conditions before and prior to the lockdown, we then agreed, firstly, that there will not be a fare increase on Monday, and that has been set aside. And secondly, the taxi industry requested that they be allowed an opportunity to interact with their lower structures and higher structures. And they will come back to us with what they think is a better way forward with respect to the matter of taxi fares. To that extent, we also agreed on a principle that the manner in which the announcement was made was also not consistent with the work that we are doing to try to build a completely new taxi industry that will take its rightful place in the economy. And then it was agreed that whatever decision they were to make, they will come back to us, and there's an opportunity for further discussions. So to that extent, we are waiting for them to come back at whatever given time. They have not put timelines, and we will be able to discuss. At this moment, it's a great, great relief for commuters that come Monday, they will not have to battle without to put the little resources they have to pay whatever the prices the taxi industry would have put to them.
Well, MEC, just for clarity then, you've managed to just stop this fare hike that could have gone up to 172%. You've managed to stop that just for Monday. So this doesn't mean that there won't be some sort of increase in fares going forward.
Definitely, because remember, the taxi industry with respect to prices, like any other business, they are self-regulating. So they decide what prices to put. They do this every year, and they've also shared with us this is what they do almost in and around July and August. So to that extent, we said whatever decision they will make, will allow them to make that decision, but they must understand that whilst they are used to this practice of deciding on fair prices, fair increases, this time there's a unique environment. There's a different climate. We are in the most difficult moment ever in history. So to that extent, they can't just on their own decide this matter. So we have made a representation that they've clearly understood that we are definitely an interested party on the matter, whatever decision they would like to make, and that principle has been well understood.
All right, MEC, what about then the relief that they're demanding, saying that they will shut down if government doesn't give them some kind of relief this month? And I ask this because if it seems they don't get some kind of help, it seems that we're in for a bit of a tough time on the roads. I mean, personally, just getting to work this week, I witnessed 3 taxis driving at breakneck speed, which is faster than their usual speeding speed, if I were to put it that way. If they had hit a pedestrian or another car, those people would have had no chance of survival the way they were driving. So I'm wondering if this is possibly going to make for more reckless behavior on the roads, more competitive behavior on the roads. Are we possibly also looking at maybe more taxi wars, more conflict there if they don't get some kind of relief very soon?
So one of the issues that I must say the taxi industry did put to us loud and clear is the fact that as matters stand, the banks are actually giving them no breathing space, because taxi debt in the books of the banks is potentially a toxic asset because the risk of default remain very high. So the banks apparently are not even considering the environment that we are pleading with them to consider. Minister yesterday, when we were in Sandton DLTC, made a further commitment to meet with their national leadership yesterday. The meetings did take place, and the minister has released a statement. The point there is, minister has made a commitment to bring some relief of one kind or another to the taxi industry. The leaders at national of both NTA and Santago are involved in those discussions, and those discussions are within their purview. So it will be really not consistent with what we expect if the taxi industry begin to threaten one of them shut down, even before they could say what is the nature of those discussions, because they must come out and say, are they happy with the discussions or not, so that we can understand what potentially could be done. At this point, there are discussions. There were meetings yesterday. There's no sense that things are not going well. So let's give those negotiations a fair chance, because when all is said and done, we are best when we sit around the table to negotiate. Okay, so from where we're looking at it, we in whatever that happens, the commuter is not the best outlet or soft spot on which to drop the financial cost faced by the taxi industry. Okay. Secondly, if there are problems, let's sit around the table, let's talk about it.
All right, so still, I'm gauging from what you said, early stages in those talks about government relief, or just in a nutshell, very quickly for us, MEC, how close are you to coming up to some kind of agreement, something to take to the table with the two taxi associations?
Well, to sum it up, Minister says the principles have been agreed upon. There's one matter outstanding called modalities. Now, and they met yesterday in the afternoon. Minister is committed to brief us as MECs about how did the discussions of yesterday go. So at this point, I wouldn't want to preempt the brief that we will receive, but what I know is that there were meetings yesterday, and thus far we have not heard anything that says those discussions didn't go well. That shows that perhaps we are on the verge of a final deal that will see some bit of money trickling into the purses and pockets of the taxi operators.
All right, but let's cross our fingers and hope so, MEC. Thanks so much for your time.